We're in Gulf Shores, Alabama right now. My name is Trisha Springstead. I'm a registered nurse. I've been working with many people of the spill. This is Kimberly, and we came down to Alabama because we feel that Alabama has been treated very unfairly, that there are no cooperative people working with the people of Alabama. We do have a lot of support in the New Orleans area, but not even enough. But they have practically no support in the state of Alabama. So my videographer, David, and myself came up here to meet with the people so that we could see what was going on. We were out on the beach last night with a gentleman, and there are tar balls out there. We walked in the water. We saw children playing in the water. We saw little kids unknowing in the canals. Snapper season just opened last night or yesterday, and people are in the water all over the place, laying on that beach. We didn't even begin to dig into the sand because we didn't have a shovel, but we're going to do that in the near future. But in that water were tar balls. You could put them, and don't do this at home, please. You could put the tar balls in your hand, you could smash them, and you could smell the crude. So if everybody thinks that there's nothing out there, I'm here to tell you that there is, and I'm here to tell you that everybody is getting sick up here, especially people that have lived here long term. My goal with this project is to get awareness out to the people of the United States of America and to get this out to our politicians who have turned a blind eye and in the love for money have forgotten about the environment and have forgotten about the human condition. And they've also forgotten about the condition of the fish. And I'm also going to tell you that if you do eat the seafood, if you do eat the stuff coming out of these polluted waters, you're going to get sick. And I'm sorry if tourism is not happy with me, because I know the state of Florida can't stand me, and I know that my governor can't stand me, and I know that the people in my state can't stand me that are in business. But I'm here to tell you that if we don't bioremediate this water, and there's a way to do it, and if we don't start helping the people of Florida, of Alabama, of Louisiana, and I'm going to tell you Mississippi is polluted, Haley Barber, and anything contraindicated on that, you better get a grip, buddy, because you're going to have a lot of people falling off dead, and they're going to be coming, and hopefully they'll be coming after you. Rick Scott, I also want to tell you, we're going to have people coming after you, and Miss Bondi, and any of our attorney generals that are turning the blind eye onto this, I want you. You either step up to the plate and do the right thing, get rid of Lisa Jackson at the EPA, dismantle the EPA in Washington, D.C., because you're the ones that are holding us back. Now, I'm going to start with this wonderful woman. Her name is Kimberly. She has lived, how long have you lived here, Kimberly? Tell us your story.
Basically 3 years. My husband and I moved down here from the Chicago area in '08. And we moved down here to basically retire and be by the beach and just have a quiet, empty nest life. And we had that up until last summer. And I was not familiar with anything back then, nothing. My husband and I would enjoy the beach every weekend, from early in the morning till late in the evening. We particularly enjoyed Bon Secours National Wildlife Refuge. It's very private out there, kind of the local beach where you don't have to deal with a lot of tourists. Mm-hmm. So we would go down there. I would go down during the week and sunbathe and sit by the sand. And then the oil came. And we were actually on the beach on June 11th, I believe it was. It was a Sunday morning. And we watched it roll in, and it rolled in over our ankles, and there was nothing we could do. The previous weekend had been Memorial Weekend, and we had been out on the beach, and, you know, I felt very secure with all the C-130s flying overhead, and and with the helicopters and with all these environmental people running up and down the beach with beach carts that they were going to do something, that this wouldn't hit our beach. And lo and behold, I didn't realize they were spraying while we're all out there sitting on the beach. They're spraying the Corexit out there. And so we were bombarded for 3 days in a row that weekend with the Corexit. And from that point on, I didn't go to the beach much except to go down and photograph. And twice a month I would go down and walk maybe a 2 or 3 mile stretch and photograph. Well, I didn't have any real symptoms until we did Hands Across the Sand, and that was on June 26th. And we were all here in Gulf Shores, and we stood out on that beach for approximately 15 minutes holding hands up to our ankles in crude oil. And getting off the beach, I felt very nauseous, very dizzy, lightheaded, sweating, just horrible sweating. And after that, I just felt worse and worse and worse. And then by the end of June, my hair started falling out. All through July, my hair was falling out in clumps. And then that went away. And probably the mid part of September, things started looking a little better down at Orange Beach, down around Perdido Pass, and I went in the water. I went in Perdido Pass up to my knees, and didn't swim or anything, just kind of waded in to cool off. And in October, I broke out in a horrible rash, and it's from my knees down only. I'm still suffering with it.
You know, when David and I were down here right after the spill, and I went out in the water to get samples. I was almost arrested right here at Gulf Shores.
Okay.
And I went out in the water to get samples, and I still have scarring from when I went out in that water, and I came home. And when I came home, I was having some strange neurological problems for about a month, and I had to go through a detox, and that was just one day, one time in the water.
And I live 10 miles inland, okay? Every day during the summer, it literally smelled like a Jiffy Lube or an Oil Express up by my house, okay? Normally, the seabirds, the seagulls and whatever, they usually don't come that far inland and circle around. We have one day in July that they were just a mass of seagulls right over my house and in my, over my backyard, and it was almost like they were disorientated, where they didn't know where they were. They were flying in all different directions, and it's something I've never seen before. And like I said, I've lived here 3 years, so, if that was a normal occurrence, I would see it over my house. And, after I started researching a little bit and getting on the computer and looking things up, I started putting things together. So I consider it kind of like an awakening. Between the end of September and October, I realized what was happening, and got in touch with some groups on Facebook and trying to figure out, okay, what do we do? We've been exposed to this stuff, and that's when I learned about the testing that could be done and started getting tested, and it is very expensive. Insurance will not pay for it.
No.
And so, basically, our medical doctors don't have a clue here of what's going on, and they will deny it. BP has put so much money out to shut everybody up that nobody's talking.
And I'm going to tell you right now that I'm sitting here and I'm looking at, I did take the Metametrics course with my husband, and I met numerous doctors at that Metametrics course, and it's such a new field of medicine. It's called environmental medicine. And it's something that I've always been waiting for, but I really didn't want to see this type of medicine come out through this type of a crisis. If we would have been ready with environmental medicine a long time ago, we would have been able to catch this very quickly. I'm sitting here and I'm looking at her Metametrics labs. Her hexane. Now, let me just explain something. The EPA also, after this spill, lowered. Now, this is just really what is sickening. The EPA of the United States of America lowered the amount of toxicity that can be put in the human body. Now, who gave them that right? And who is it to them to say that you can have a certain amount of toxicity, like so much rocket fuel in your water is safe, or so much styrene in the air is safe, or so much ethylbenzene is safe? No amount is safe. And I don't care what they say. And the other thing is, with Kimberly, she hit on to something that's really interesting, and it's that if people are affected and they're watching the birds be affected by it,
right,
you can't separate out the human beings from the birds from the earth.
Well, absolutely.
We're one. We're all one.
All medical science, they use animals to test everything.
Right.
You know?
That's right.
So if the animals are not acting right and they're sick, automatically it's going to go up.
That's right.
It's going to affect us.
And then it starts down at the food chain.
Right.
And then it goes up, and then it goes in the air. And so now all you have is pollution.
Right.
And as these winds blow and this water gets warmer, we're going to have more people falling out. So I would like to also say something to the mayor of Gulf Shores and anybody that is running Gulf Shores and this county, which is Baldwin County. It is time for you to wake up, sucker, because one more summer, you may have one more summer of tourism. But if you don't bioremediate this water and you don't do the right thing right now, we get a hurricane come in, this is going to be the end of any tourism, and it may be the end of life as you know it in Baldwin County. So I'm just going to throw a few little things out to y'all. This woman's elevated in antimony. She has arsenic on board. She has cadmium. That's in batteries. She has lead that's way outside the reference. Mercury, her mercury is high. Well, mercury, if you look up mercury toxicity, you'll see why your hair was falling out, and then why you started getting those sores. Mercury is just amazing what it does, what it does to the human being, what it will do to your skin, and how it can make your hair fall out. Her creatinine is right at the mean, which is good. But then I'm looking here at Metametrics hexane. Hexane is at the top of the 4th percentile. It's right about around 219. Her 2-methylpentane is at the 2nd percentile. Her 3-methylpentane is right in the 3rd methyl quintile. But I look at her isooctane, and her isooctane is way into the 5th at 8.9. What does that tell you? That tells you that the human being, their blood is turning into gasoline. Isooctane is gasoline. I mean, this doesn't belong in our water. It doesn't belong in human beings. It doesn't belong, look at our children. What are they going to inherit? And what people are getting also is the stuff that these people are exposed to. Think about it. I mean, I want you to think very, very clearly about this. That corrects it that they were spraying on these people. What's going to happen is their red blood cells are blowing up.